Yes, Judge. At this time, the people called Jenny Tomlin.
Witness entering. Good morning. Step up. Remain standing, please. Raise your right hand and face the clerk. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. State your full name and spell your last name.
It's Jenny Tomlin, Tomalin.
Your county of residence.
Mercer County.
Good morning. You may inquire.
Good morning, Ms. Tomlin. Are you employed?
Yes, I am.
Where do you work?
Verizon.
What kind of company is Verizon?
We are a telecommunications company.
What is your job title?
I'm a senior analyst in executive relations.
How long have you been in that role?
Since 2017, so 7 years.
And what are your duties and responsibilities in that role?
My duties include appearing in court as a custodian of records to testify to records previously produced in response to subpoenas, court orders, and search warrants.
What did you do at Verizon before you were in that role?
I was a subpoena compliance coordinator of the Verizon Security Assistance Team.
How long have you been at Verizon?
18 years.
And in your time at Verizon, have you become familiar with Verizon's record-keeping practices?
Yes, I have.
And you understand that you are here today testifying as a custodian of records for Verizon?
Yes, I do.
And are you here because Verizon received a subpoena asking for custodian testimony?
Yes, I am.
Relating specifically to its phone business, does Verizon keep subscriber and call records?
Yes, we do.
Generally, what are call records?
Call records for the wireless side are billable incoming and outgoing calls. On the wired line side, call records will be tolls or billable outbound calls.
And what are subscriber records?
Records that contain the financial responsible party for the line of service or account, including any contact information, address, etc.
Does Verizon make and keep subscriber and call records in the regular course of its business?
Yes, we do.
And is it the regular course of Verizon's business to make and keep such records?
Yes, it is.
I am going to ask that the witness be handed a thumb drive. Thank you. Ms. Tomlin, if you take a look at that thumb drive, does that thumb drive contain a set of Verizon records that have been marked for identification as People's Exhibit 401?
Yes, it does.
And before coming to court today, did you have a chance to review the records on that thumb drive?
I did.
And is that the thumb drive you reviewed?
Yes, it is.
How do you know that?
Because I initialed and dated the thumb drive.
Are the records contained in People's 401 for identification on that thumb drive call and subscriber records?
Yes, they are.
How many different phone numbers do they relate to?
12.
Do those phone numbers all belong to Verizon customers?
Yes.
Do all of the phone records, both subscriber and call records, relate to the general time period of 2015 to 2018?
Yes.
Did Verizon make and keep the subscriber and call records contained in People's Exhibit 401 for identification in the regular course of its business?
Yes.
Was it the regular course of Verizon's business to make and keep these particular records?
Yes.
Are the entries made on these documents made at the time of the recorded events or transactions took place, or written a reasonable time thereafter?
Yes.
Is the date contained in these reports captured? I am sorry. Is the data contained in these reports captured through an automated process and stored in the electronic database?
Yes.
Does Verizon rely on the accuracy of that automated process and electronic database?
Yes.
Can Verizon employees run reports that capture data from the electronic database?
Yes.
Are they under a business duty to do so accurately?
Yes.
At this point, I am going to offer People's Exhibit 401 into evidence.
No objection.
It's accepted into evidence.
If we can now pull up. I think I am running a little behind here. If we can pull up a redacted page from one of the call records. Displayed in front of you and for the room is a redacted page from People's 401, which bears the Bates stamp Danny GJ 000-64777. Is this a representative sample of a call record for a Verizon phone number?
Yes, it is.
Does this page that we are looking at contain redactions?
Yes, it does.
Did you have a chance to compare this redacted page to the original page that is part of what's in evidence as People's 401?
Yes, I did.
But for the redactions, are the pages identical?
Yes.
Could you just walk us through the columns on this page and explain what each one is?
Yes. Starting on the left, the date column identifies the date that the call began. The time column identifies the time the call began. The number column will identify the telephone number that the target telephone number was communicating with. The rate and usage type columns identify what portion of a customer's calling plan will be applied to these calls. The origination column identifies the geographical area for which we are billing the target telephone number, while making or receiving the telephone call. The destination call logs for FM calls, identified by the home area of the telephone number being called. For incoming calls, it will reflect incoming CL or any other code that is needed with that call. The min column identifies the length of the call in minutes, airtime charges, long distance, other charges, and total. Those three columns identify any financial charges assessed to that call respectively.
Just a couple of quick questions. In the min column, is that minutes?
Yes, it is.
And how does that work? Does it reflect seconds, or does Verizon round in a standard direction?
On the bill, we round up.
And with respect to the time shown for each of those calls, what time zone does Verizon keep its records in?
The time zone should be the time zone for the city and state reflected in the origination column.
So, when we look at the date and time columns together with the origination column, that should tell us the time zone that that call is being reflected in.
Yes.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
You may inquire.
Thank you, Judge. Good morning, Ms. Tomlin.
Good morning.
My name is Emil Bove, and I represent President Trump, who is over here on my left. I want to talk a little lit about the subscriber records that are part of Exhibit 401, if we could.
Yes.
Because they are not redacted, I'm just going to ask.
Sure.
So, Mr. Burnick, this is just for the court, the parties, and the witness. Take a look at the spreadsheet with Bates ending 64591. And Ms. Tomlin, do you see that in column D it says MTN?
Yes.
That's mobile telephone number in Verizon records, right?
Yes.
The phone number linked to the account, correct?
Yes.
And so if you look at cell D3, column D, row 3, that row relates to telephone number ending 5361?
Yes.
And if you look, staying on that row, at columns F and G, the subscriber name is Keith Davidson linked to this number?
Yes.
So that when you say subscriber name, that's information that somebody provided to Verizon saying that I am a person who is linked to this account, right?
Yes.
And Mr. Burnick, if we could scroll to column AA, please. Do you see where it says MTN effective date?
Yes.
So that's a mobile telephone number effective date?
Correct.
So for this row, what does it say for this row? I am sorry, I can't see.
That was row 3, correct?
Yes, thank you.
April 30th, 2010.
So for this record, as of April 30th, 2010, going forward, this number was linked to the particular account that's reflected in this subscriber information, right?
Correct.
And for purposes of this record, prior to April of 2010, this record doesn't have anything to say about that, correct?
Correct.
And phone numbers can shift from account to account and person to person, right?
Yes.
And so, it's entirely possible that pre-April 2010, this number belonged to somebody else, right?
Yes.
I have one question about the toll records that we looked at in Government Exhibit 401. Those sorts of looked like the phone bills that I might get for my cell phone, right?
Yes.
And you said Verizon rounds up on the duration field?
Yes.
So if there was a call that lasted 15 seconds, does that bump up to 1 minute?
Yes.
And if a call lasted 1 second, it bumps up to 1 minute also?
Yes.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No, Judge.
Thank you. You may step down.
Thank you.
This video was brought to you by my supporters on Indiegogo. YouTube will not monetize these videos, so I can only afford to keep making them with your support. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, please donate to my Indiegogo campaign so we can finish this trial. You can find the campaign linked at the top of the description or scan the QR code on screen now.